Hey, what is up guys? Masterleaf here, back to do another video, and I've got a treat for you guys. 3 videos, 3 1 versus 1 games in a week. These games are pretty good. I was fortunate to have a series of games where I played reasonably well, and very technical, this particular one here. The previous 2 that I demonstrated contained those heroic units with the heroic stealth tank and the heroic avatar. Such awesome and will be memorable games for me. Hope you all enjoyed those 2. And this one here is going to be on Airstrip. I'll be playing as Steven the Nod. Senna will be on the right hand side as Steel Talons. Can't wait to play more games versus Senna, if he wants of course. But the games have been great against him. I feel like my best games are versus Senna, versus Space, and back in the day obviously against Green Zero. I feel like we're due for a Green Zero first person video, guys. What do you think? With him in the call, those were very fun times. Green Zero of course getting mad over the spikes and me always winning the luck roll. He is missed. What can I say? We need a grand return from Green Zero. I also see State of the Union nowadays pop into my Twitch channel. He says a few things and then doesn't bother to come online and play games. I mean, he was a great player back in the day. But understandably, many people move on. We're not in our youths anymore. So people have responsibilities, I guess. They need to not play Kane Draft as much, but Kane Draft nonetheless is still an amazing game, and it still receives support to this day. A couple of people are responsible for that. We've got people working behind the scenes like CGF on Command Post, which has been pivotal for the community's success. And I don't want to blow my own horn, but yeah, I did the R20 patch and 4K remaster mod, which you guys should definitely check out. I'm going to insert that shameless advert in there now for my own mod, but of course I don't get anything for that. I did that for free. It was a passion project, but you guys should download it if your PCs are not from the Cold War era. Anyways, I'm going for a bike rush. Some pretty intense micro with those bikes. I do pull the 2 bikes that was on the low health back to base. That's very indicative of a good game, and a good game to come when I'm able to pull off that sort of move where I click those 2 bikes and send them back to base to the war factory. A lot of players don't do that because I think they're lazy most of the time. But little victories like that, killing a pitbull, sending 2 bikes back to base for repair, rinse and repeat, that's what allows you to snowball. It's these little victories that can become huge victories. But I kept these 4 bikes alive. I killed a harvester, but from the games I've played throughout the years, just killing 1 harvester with 4 bikes is not enough. If your opponent makes 4 harvesters and you kill 1, that's still not enough damage. You're going to be level with your opponent, if not slightly behind still. I know it's crazy, but it is what it is. Senna though has a lot of pitbulls, so obviously a micro-intensive thing here. I need to not lose my bikes. If I lose them here, I'll have nothing to defend my expansion. He's going ahead and he's going to counter-attack me. He got a couple of foxholes already dug in my base. That means it's going to make it difficult to defend with infantry, but I can drop laser turrets. There's a veteran bike right there. I managed to get that away, which is only due to its veterancy rank. It's plus 15% damage reduction with the veteran rank. So the 1 chevron is the veteran status, the 2 chevrons is the elite status, and the heroic rank of course is the star for GDI, or the nod star for nod. You know what I'm talking about. I don't think it has a name. So I defended that off, maybe overspent on infantry. I don't really want to make infantry as vanilla nod. I can get the Confessor upgrade and Tib Infusion, but That's what, $2,000? Tiv Infusion is 1,000, Confess is 1,000. It's not harder to get that up and running compared to Black Hand Imp, where they just require a single upgrade. At least if you get the Purifying Flame, it's not only applying to your infantry. In fact, that's just a bonus. Really, what you get that for is for the flame tanks. And Purifiers, those are amazing. So I'm now researching quad turrets for my Shredder turrets, because I'm not going for a Scorpion tank spam strategy, so quad turrets is the upgrade I will go for. If I was spamming Scorpion tanks here, then obviously I would be upgrading Dozer Blades, but one or the other you guys should definitely purchase at this stage of the game as a not faction. And I believe I was trying to bait my opponent onto this tip field with the limited forces that I have. If I can somehow keep them there for a second. And I've, by the way, set my a bookmark to my opponent's expansion tip field so I can hit the hotkey of the bookmark that I set there, and it would take me straight to my opponent's expansion tip field. So I use Control J to assign the bookmark, and then I press J, which took me straight to that tip field while I put the chemical plant down, and that's how I was able to catch all those pitballs in like a 0.5 second window. So a bookmark actually did something for me there. I got the refinery too with the Catalyst Missile, but Senna already anticipated that and rebuilt another refinery straight away. Hammerhead's out for him. He's still got an army, and I haven't really got anything. One avatar, there's a harvester there. Might be able to take that out with these bikes, but I want to get some repairs first. They are upgraded with that Tyburn Core missile now, so those 4 bikes that I retained since the start of this game with that rush are still alive. And I feel like that's really good micro. I have not really been wasteful at all with any unit. I've been squeezing as much out of every unit. And I'm going to do a trick here with these decoys, because if the decoys are killed, then the damage sometimes may become real damage. You can see it does do some damage whilst those decoys are taking damage and getting destroyed. But that was a bit of a nifty trick there. I know you could say it's like a bug, but it happens all the time, even with decoy army infantry. You just don't really notice it, but it almost certainly does influence fights all the time. Nonetheless, though, that was $500 down the drain. I don't know, I just fancied using it. The radar jamming missile does fire off 15 seconds in this patch. In vanilla it was only 10 seconds, which wasn't very long. Senna used to spam it all the time. If you are a Nod faction, you have a Temple of Nod, you can actually mitigate the radar jamming missile with the Master Computer Countermeasures ability of the super weapon. A lot of people requested me to put that on the Temple of Nod itself, the Master Computer Countermeasures ability. But I found it better to be where it is, because you can assign that Temple of Nod to a hotkey, and it's easier pressing, like for instance, the number 4 on my keyboard to get to that Temple of Nod to then activate the ability, rather than hunt my support power list on the left hand side of the screen. I think it's faster once you know the hotkeys to do it with the method EA implemented. And I think that's the reason why it was set up that way, to be honest. It's just better. Pitballs poke in. That's a lot of pitballs, by the way. Somewhat base contained. And now I am forced to contest that green tier field in the south with just 4 avatars in the Redeemer. I tried to squeeze as much value as I possibly could out of that cloaking field. You guys saw me trying to manipulate them. And I'm doing a micro trick here, so my bike that is veteran gets the experience on that harvester. So not often do you see players deliberately manipulate things like that to get XP, to use the mechanics of the veteran sync to maybe have an alternate win condition. Because if I can get a heroic bike, then obviously that's not a heroic stealth tank, but it's still a very powerful unit and difficult to take out. EMP does fire off. Marv got raged, which meant it couldn't receive orders. So when Senna sent his Marv to that tier field, I immediately raged it, and for 5 seconds he could not even order that Redeemer. So it fell there to the buggy and Redeemer combo. However, look at all these behemoths back there. He's also got an expansion setup. Whereas I myself, I have no refinery. I'm very behind in this game. Look at all those juggernauts. So many behemoths. Husks being destroyed. I'm taking victory here, but I really have to, considering my position. Shockwave artillery fires off on this Redeemer. That will probably mean lights out for it. Vertigo bombers sweeping in as well. I managed to squeeze out 4. There's a bunch of pitbulls there, which are quite problematic. Will be able to snipe down my Vertigos. Redeemer taking heavy damage. I was forced to put my refinery all the way back there, and look at this Vertigo bomber strike. I don't think you guys have seen a better one in your lives with 4 Vertigos. Look at that, guys. Look at that. 5 behemoths going down to 1 singular Vertigo bombing run. I thought that was insane. I summon in the mine drop. Maybe those juggernauts will focus down the mines and kill the husks, which does happen. But he will be able to reclaim those husks nonetheless. I did clean up some of them. But yeah, the army still remains for Senna. That Redeemer is pretty low on health. I may want to get that back to base for repair. It's more valuable than your regular Redeemer because it has stealth. It has been stealthed. Those Vertigo bombers are going to sweep in again for another attack run. A great unit to use against the GDI artillery. The pitbulls are Senna's form of anti-air. However, that obelisk went down, which meant the pitbulls wasted their shot. Those Vertigos did manage to escape. I'm microing, and I need to micro really hard. I've only got 3 or 4 howitzers so low on health. I can lose this game in an instant, given my position here. There's so many pitbulls out. There's behemoths out. This army is just growing and growing, and I have no resources practically. I'm long leeching Tiberium from this green tip field. I'm doing a surveillance scan here. Speaking of scan, he does use it there to reveal my Vertigos. At this point, I was terrified of Firehawks. I'm going to fly in and try and kill these behemoths, or some of them, because I know that the time will be up for these Vertigos soon, with those Firehawks potentially being a counter. My next move at this point is to go for Spectres, despite my dire position, not being able to expand. I do have the harvesters not harvesting that top field. A lot of players don't do this. Players often reserve or keep 1 harvester at their first field to mine away at the little seedlings, but I differ from most. I try to regrow my tip fields, so it gives me a backup option if something like this happens. And you see I have a half-grown Tiberium field in the top, which I've left alone. So the Marv has been rebuilt, has 4 engineers inside of it. Combat support airfield on the front line. That's the... how often do you see that? Not too often. Not that I would land my Vertigos there. It's in a very bad position. So much micro happening right here. Vertigos sweep in again for a bombing run. Those units taking so much damage. Marv there pushing through. I really need EMP to lock down this Marv. This force of units is pushing in. It almost looks like I have lost the game at this point. That elite bike back there. Marv with 4 engineers, insane. Look how much damage that tanks. However, it does make it pretty weak against EMP. It focused on that avatar, which is stealthed. A lot of those avatars there are cloaked. And as long as I can keep streaming in a constant supply of buggies, I can continuously EMP this Marv, but it is just serving as a meat shield. But at least it will prevent itself from healing itself up. These behemoths back there just doing the work, really. So much damage on those behemoths. Bike does go heroic, so look at that. All that micro was rewarded in the end. That's the bike that I got from the rush at the start of the game. It's now sniping hammerheads. Combat engineers doing what they can. Shooting that radar buggy, not going to accomplish that much. And Vertigos once again sweep in. And this game here is a good demonstration once more of what you can achieve with micro. Look at that heroic bike. That is, if you check the replay, which I, by the way, post in the descriptions from now on. I'll have replays in the description. I host them now on my Google Drive. So if you guys want to check out the replays of these games, then you can do so. I believe I saved the replay to this. If I didn't, then it would be the replays in the future. But the last video I certainly did. Behemoth's still alive. I tried to clean that husk up, but for some reason I could not clean it up. And yeah, there's 4 or 5 juggernauts still back there. but the resources are running dry for Senna. He hasn't really taken any economic damage all game. He's got tons of behemoths and juggernauts and Marvs and Pipples, the thing you'd expect to see from a Steel Talons player on this map. Not rarely win on a map like this, because the advantage given to GI factions with that behemoth and juggernaut spam is huge. And I will barely come through in another thriller of a game, I think, because that was very micro intense. I mean, that was the first thing I said after that game ended. It was really tough. And I know that Senna lost, and he has lost a couple games on my channel recently, but he's won equally as many games. However, he just curb stomps me in the games that he wins, and I'm not going to post those. I mean, I could post an entirely unedited series one day, but for now, I think you guys are just interested in the highlights. I will post my losses as well if I get an awesome loss. I have done so in the past, if you guys have been following me for a long time. But that'll do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed that video and that cast, guys. Just some more content for you all. And thank you very much again for watching. If you did like the video, then don't forget to hit the like button. I'd really do appreciate that. And last but not least, I would like to thank all my Patreon members for continuing to support me and my channel. I really do appreciate the support, guys. So that is going to be it for me. So this is me, Masterleaf. Peace out.